Lyn Cleaver is a medicinal cannabis advocate. Her son Jeremy lives with permanent brain damage and relies on medicinal cannabis to suppress the symptoms. And despite advocating for a medicinal cannabis scheme to be implemented, and 3 years since the scheme has been going, her son is still waiting for legal access to medicinal cannabis. Lyn Cleaver, good afternoon. Thank you for joining the program. What do you think of today's announcement of a $10 million medicinal cannabis facility?
Hi, Per. Thank you. I think it's great that we can have an industry within the state that is producing cannabinoid medicines, considering that the rest of the country and the majority of the world are actually realising the benefits of cannabis therapy. The problem is, obviously, that only 16 patients in Tasmania have legal access.
Jeremy, your son, has, I understand, applied for the controlled access to medicinal cannabis in the state. Where is that up to now, and how is Jeremy doing?
Jeremy's doing very well, thank you. So our first application was rejected to the scheme on the basis that Jeremy hadn't tried all of the conventional medicines for his epilepsy. There is a current application in now. We're hopeful that the panel will see fit to follow the specialist's prescribing wishes and approve a cannabis medicine for Jeremy.
And in terms of ticking those boxes to try each and everything that you might need to get across the line to be able to access medicinal cannabis, is that an option for you and Jeremy?
Prior to our application to the controlled access scheme, these drugs were never considered suitable for Jeremy, and they're still not suitable. So the 3 drugs that are left, it's not compassionate to force somebody who's diagnosed with refractory epilepsy, who is medication resistant, to try another 3 drugs before he can go ahead and legally access a drug that he's using illicitly now. It doesn't seem to make sense that those sorts of conditions will be put on patients within Tasmania.
How many people do you know in a position like yours who might rely on medicinal cannabis or really want to explore that as an option to manage a condition that they have who can't get access through the controlled access scheme?
Yeah, sure. So most of the advocates within the state are getting called upon by people weekly and many calls, many different patients. A lot of them are families of children with epilepsy or people with cancer and chronic pain. You know, there's a lot of people with chronic pain seeking cannabis. And sadly, for the most part, those people either don't have access to a GP, or their GP doesn't want to refer them onto a specialist, or the wait times to get in to see the specialist are too long. So these are people that are really sick and can't afford to wait. So they're procuring cannabis any way they can.
In terms of people procuring cannabis any way they can, does that put people more at risk if they're turning to the black or green, as it's sometimes referred, market, which doesn't have any quality control?
Yeah, of course it does. Like in our experience, we know how Jeremy's medicine is grown. It's organic, it's fresh and it's safe, but often you will find that some of the cannabis medicines might be contaminated. There's no quality testing done, but people are using products that might not be suitable for their condition. So if the government wants these patients to have compassionate access, as Mr Ferguson calls it, it's time that they showed some compassion and brought these people back inside the law and under the care of their specialists by allowing them access to a legal and safe, affordable medicine.